Hi guys, it's Nicole and I'm back with part 3 of the January 2015 Super Sketch Club kit from Scrapbook Generation. And this page went together pretty quickly, and again, I'm going to apologize that I did not realize that my phone was in frame. Almost anytime I'm sitting down and kind of working on these kits, I like to sort of catch up on shows and different things on YouTube, like other scrapbookers and stuff. And I'm typically better about putting my phone up on a shelf in front of me, and for whatever reason today I kept forgetting to make sure that it was out of frame. So I will apologize if that is distracting to anyone. And I had gone ahead and cut my papers before I started recording, mostly because while I was cutting these I was waiting for files to transfer off of my SD card. So I just went ahead and trimmed down my photo or my papers real quick. And as always, I just followed the cutting guide that was attached to the instructions, and you can see on the left side of my desk I've got my samples printed out as far as the two different sketches that you could pick and choose which one you wanted to make. Unless you double up with the papers, then you have enough of the pattern papers that you could do both Debbie's sketch and both Allison's sketch. But I just keep to the basic subscription, especially since I'm pretty backlogged on them. The thought of sort of doubling up on the papers for part 2 and part 3 I think that's just too much for me typically. And so I just stick to the 5 layouts that come in the kit. I like that format, it works for me, so I just kind of keep doing that. I do keep the extra sketch. A lot of times I do like the sketch. There's been a couple times where I've sort of merged both of their sketches into a kind of maybe a hybrid of the two. I will have a video up soon of one that I kind of did, maybe the left side of one and the right side of one. But all I have been doing is just inking the edges of those 3x4 cards, which were from a cut apart sheet. That card that says here's the story I'm not going to attach yet because I'm going to run it through my printer with my computer generated journaling, so I'm going to leave that off. And then there was enough paper left over that as I was doing this I was realizing that the right side of everything was not going to line up, perfectly straight. So I later on am going to end up taking some of the extra pattern papers and just trimming a small border and just kind of covering up that edge. And then these little grid papers, I want to say were the back side of some of the 3x4 cards, and they had the measurements for trimming them down, and then I'm just kind of using the grid pattern on the actual paper to cut out my little fishtails or banners. And then I'm going to also ink those in the brown ink. And this was a perfect example of one of those collections that I was not drawn to when I saw it on like online stores. My local store doesn't get Jelly Bean Soup, so anytime I see Jelly Bean Soup it's usually online. And I've noticed sometimes it's kind of hard to get a good idea of the colors and stuff on an online image. But the last few kits that I've worked through, there's been Jelly Bean Soup in most of them, and I have noticed that I'm actually really liking it. So now, like, Jelly Bean Soup is kind of sort of on my radar as far as when I see new collections hitting different sites. I will typically look at Scrapbook Generation online store first, mostly because it's easier for me to use their bank it option where you can kind of shop a little bit here and there and a little bit there, and you don't have to pay shipping. They sort of hold your order until you get to a $75 total, and then they send it to you. So a lot of times I will either do that, or I'll do the add-on shipping option if I want to get it maybe sooner than I think I'll be shopping again, and they'll send anything that I've put on that order with my monthly subscription. Otherwise, if it's something that either they've sold out of or they're probably not going to get, I'll usually look at Scrapbook.com, I want to say, and mostly just because they're in Arizona, so to ship to me, I get it within like 2 or 3 days. So if there's something that I need for like a local class that I kind of need, that I know my local store is not going to order, I will order from there because it comes quickly. These little numbers that I was fussy cutting are all from 2 of those 3x4 cut apart sheets. And again, it was one of those things that I think had I seen it on my own, I would have never thought to have cut out all those little numbers and sort of used them as a way of like marking your photos. So I thought that was a really cute idea. And they really weren't that bad to fussy cut out just because it was, straight cuts. And I really liked how adding the numbers to the different photos kind of scattered those bright colors throughout the layout. And I probably could have cut out, I might have trimmed the video. It's probably going to jump here in a minute. This was probably the longest part of actually putting this kit together, was just cutting out those little numbers, inking them all, and then putting foam tape on them. And then I had decided that I wanted to do a little bit of stamping, and I was really liking this love definition card, and I just kind of wanted to add something to it, mostly just to add a little color and just to kind of have an excuse to use my stamps and stuff. And I was kind of looking at some of the words on this Christmas stamp that I had, and then I just decided to grab this little life phrase and then some Mama Elephant pigment inks. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what color that is. It's either ocean or rainwater. And then here I have run that card through my printer with my journaling on it. Hopefully there's not a typo. If anybody catches it, let me know. Somebody caught one on my on one of the Valentine's Day layouts, and I appreciated it. So now I know to go back and fix that. And then here's that extra strip that I was talking about earlier that I cut just to kind of cover up the side that my photos and the journaling cards didn't quite meet up. And usually part 2 and part 3 of the kit, you do have leftover paper. So that's always nice in case you want to add some extra embellishments, or you want to, cut a title with your Cameo or your Cricut. There's usually enough that you can do that. So I'm just adding the last of those numbers, and then I took a couple photos up close so you could see the stamping, and then another one of the journaling card that I had run through my printer, and again that extra little piece of paper that I added to this side, and then just another picture of the entire layout. So as always, thanks for watching.